I'm getting too old for this. Nunchaku. That's the proper pronunciation for these. But for the duration of this video, I'm going to be calling these nunchucks. Why? Because I grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's why. So why am I making nunchucks? Isn't that a little bit easy? I mean, they're basically just a couple of sticks connected together with a piece of chain or rope. Well, I wanted to demonstrate a project that anyone could do. Even you. Now, you've probably heard the old saying, when it comes to doing a job, it can be fast, good, or cheap, but you can only pick two. So it can be good and fast but not cheap, or cheap and fast but not good, etc. Well, I think we can make a pair of nunchucks that are good, fast, and cheap, and we're going to add easy to that as well. I call it the quadrifecta. So let's do this. So the first thing we got to do is to cut our sticks. And for this project, I'm using PVC pipe. Wait. Don't stop the video. I promise this won't suck. So what I got here is some gray Schedule 40 3/4 inch PVC. And if you can't tell, it's almost exactly the same thickness as these wooden handles. Now, I heard somewhere that the handles need to be about the same length as the distance from your wrist to your elbow. These are about 12 inches, but my arms are long and I measured about 13. So I'm going to cut a couple of 13-inch sections off of this PVC with a hacksaw. So here are the two pieces of 3/4 inch PVC cut to length. And now I have to drill the holes that the cord is going to go through. For these nunchucks, I'm going to be using paracord instead of chain. So I'm going to drill 2 holes through each stick. One hole is going to be 1 inch down, and the second hole is 1 inch below that. And I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch drill bit, which should allow plenty of room for my paracord. Now here we are with our holes drilled. Now, as you know, Schedule 40 PVC is lightweight and hollow, so you wouldn't think this would make for very good nunchucks. That's why we're going to thicken this wall. So I went ahead and got some 1/2 inch PVC. Now, this 1/2 inch PVC does not fit inside this 3/4, but it almost will. It's only off by about 1/16 of an inch. So we got to figure out a way to get this inside of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this heat gun to soften up this outer hull so it becomes malleable enough for me to insert the 1/2 inch piece inside of it. Now, not everybody has a heat gun, so after this I'm going to show you an alternative method that should provide the same result. But like I said, not everybody has one of these, but you should, because these are very handy, and this one only cost me $9 at Harbor Freight, so they're very inexpensive. So to protect my work surface, I've actually got a piece of scrap angle iron, and I'm just going to put my outer wall PVC in the V. I'm going to heat it up. It's going to take about a minute, and I'm going to quickly try to shove this inside. And as you can see, I've kind of tapered it a little bit with sandpaper so it gets started. And I'm also going to give it a little light spray of WD-40, which should make the process a little bit easier. So here are my double thick PVC sticks. They're already feeling really substantial. They even feel a little bit heavier than these cheap wooden ones. So my next step is going to be to finish drilling through these holes, drill through the inner tube, and also kind of just clean up the edges and make sure they're nice and even. And one interesting thing about using the heat gun technique is that it made each stick just slightly thicker, but in doing so, it kind of shortened it. I lost about 1/8 of an inch. But luckily I cut these a little bit long. I cut them about 1/4 inch long. So I'm going to try to even them up to a good 13 inches. But before I do that, I mentioned that there was another way of doing this without using the heat gun. So I cut a couple of scrap pieces just to show you how that would work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hacksaw and I'm going to cut 2 slices down about just past halfway, and then do the same on the other side, but crisscrossed. so that the cuts don't meet. And that should remove enough material and just hammer it in. So we're going to try and see if that works. So here you can see I've kind of dressed up the edges here, rounded them off, got kind of a taper. And now what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this, this is just me being fancy, I'm going to carve a little channel between these two holes, not that deep, and then so that the cord can kind of lay inside it and be flush with the body. I'm going to do it with the Dremel tool. I'm going to use this little sanding bit, so I'm going to just do that real quick. So these are starting to look pretty good, but they are still hollow, so I want to fill them up with something. And since this is supposed to be an accessible project that just about anybody can make themselves, I had to think of a filler that was really durable so it won't crumble or shatter on impact. So here's something that every DIYer has: hot glue. Now these full-size sticks are about 10 inches long, so my first idea was to just put one in there. It's about the right length, but it is a bit too small. So came up with the idea of just wrapping it in duct tape. Put enough on there so that it would go in and you could force it in and it wouldn't come out. But I performed a couple of tests to see how well that would hold up, and I will show you the results. So yeah, I was swinging that as hard as I could, and it did really well against the wood, but hitting the corner of a brick proved too much. Now to that I would say that we actually worked pretty well, because who's going to be hitting bricks with these things? So I would say that there is no shame in just using this technique. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the glue gun and melt the glue into the body of the stick, so there is no air pockets or voids, which I think was the problem. So I'm not going to film myself just squirting glue into that stick, because I think we all know how that works. But I will say what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wad up a piece of probably paper towel or something, stick in here so that the holes are not covered, fill it with glue, and then just pull out the paper towel and it'll leave a scrap behind, but no one's going to see in there. So that's the plan. So here they are. Got them all filled up with glue. And now they're basically done, and they are nice and heavy. I would say they weigh slightly heavier than these, and that's with the chain. So very sturdy. Now getting the glue inside these was kind of a pain. As much as I tried to pour it straight down, it kind of started piling up on the sides around here and filled up about halfway. And then I had to turn it around and fill from here and watch out not to get to where I drilled the holes. So hindsight being 20/20, I would probably just do the thing with the duct tape and the glue stick. Just don't hit bricks with them. And if you're facing off against a guy wearing some kind of brick armor, just walk away. Note to self, future video, brick armor. So now I'm just going to give these guys a light sanding, try and get rid of this this ink. So let's do that. Okay, so we got them all cleaned up. They're looking good. Now it's time to string them together. I've got about 3 feet of black paracord, some needle nose pliers, and a little wooden skewer just in case I need to dig in there and get the cord. There's several YouTube videos about how to do this, but I'll just, it's super easy. And now I'm going to do something fancy again, something that you don't have to do. But I'm going to tie some knots down the length so that it looks better and hopefully performs better. And I'm using snake knots. I'm going to put a few more about an inch apart, and I'll come back when that's done. Okay, so I got about, looks like 6 knots. I need the distance to be 5 inches between there. Okay, so now I am through all the way. Now I'm just going to tie this in a knot and stuff it down in there. That should hold. And here's the finished product. I basically just tweaked the length a little bit and tucked everything in. Now it's nice and secure and looking good. So I think these came out as good or better than these cheap store-bought ones. I would say better because they are custom to my specifications. And I'd say the best thing about them is the price. I used about $1 worth of PVC, about 75 cents worth of hot glue, and about 15 cents worth of paracord. That totals up to about $1.95. Let's round it up to $2 just to be safe. Now, full disclosure, I had to buy 10 feet of both sizes of PVC pipe, but together that only cost me $5. I also spent $5 on the hot glue because I got 24 sticks. So I ended up spending about $10 or $12, but I've got enough material to make 5 pairs of nunchucks. So if you do the same, you'll have 4 pairs of nunchucks to give away as gifts. And everybody wants a pair of nunchucks. They might not know it yet, but they do. Now, I didn't mention it before, but one advantage to using cord instead of chain is that it doesn't make a lot of noise when you swing it, as opposed to chain, which kind of rattles and clatters. And cord might be the better choice, because apparently practicing nunchucks in the bedroom while your wife is trying to sleep is inconsiderate. So do yourself a favor and make a pair of nunchucks, and I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe.